The companion of the Prophet Muhammad and the Quranic exegete, Ibn Abbas, mentions that the nutfah is from a weak drop of the water/fluid of man and woman. 44 Ibn Kathir, while commenting on the second verse in chapter 76 of the Quran, cites Ibn Abbas as describing the nutfah stage as the mixing of two fluids, therefore confirming the statement above. This means the fluid of the man and the fluid of the woman when they meet and mix. 45 Ibn Abbas's above explanations seem to allude to the fact that the nutfah is just a fluid. Therefore, some commentators assert that this illustrates that the word nutfah is a synonym for the word semen. This assertion lacks a holistic understanding, and it fails to take into account the other Quranic verses and the prophetic traditions referring to the nutfah. In the prophetic traditions, when describing semen in context of its appearance and form, the words mani and maniyan are used. This is consistent throughout various prophetic traditions that can be found in the collections of Muslim, Nisai, Ibn Majah, Abu Dawud, and Bukhari. For example, in the book of Tahara Fellow, in the collection of Sunan at Tirmidhi, Aisha, the wife of the Prophet Selan, narrates that she washed maniyan from the Prophets. Garments 46. If the whole corpus of exegetical material is used to form an accurate perspective on the word nutfah, Ibn Abbas's statement should be taken in the context of the nutfah being a specific drop of fluid from the semen and not the semen itself. This is because the prophetic traditions use the words mani and nutfah in different contexts, and therefore clearly differentiate between the two terms, further highlighting that they are not synonyms. Additionally, the Quranic verses pertaining to the word nutfah clearly mention that the nutfah is an extract from semen, and not semen itself. In addition to the above, the Quran mentions another meaning for the word nutfah by describing it as a combination of mingled aliyah substances. We created man from a drop, nutfah, of mingled fluid. 47 This verse, from a grammatical perspective, portrays an image of the nutfah as an entity made up of a combination of substances. The word al-amshaj is a plural adjective, and it is used here with the singular noun nutfah. Grammatically, this highlights the verse's concept of the nutfah as being a single entity or drop produced by a combination of substances coming from the mother and the father. In light of this analysis, the word nutfah can mean a drop of fluid from the male and female that are extracts from a larger volume or group of its kind. It can also mean a single entity produced by a combination of drops from the semen and the female equivalent, which contain essential extracts or substances like a sperm or an egg. Scientific interpretation. The principles put forward by both the Quran and the prophetic traditions coincide with what is known today of modern embryology. The nutfah stage specifically implies the process of fertilization, which requires the mingling of components from the father's semen and the mother's equivalent. These components form a single cell, known as the zygote. In regard to this, embryologists John Allen and Beverly Kramer state, the human individual arises from the conjugation of two-minute structures called cells, one from the mother and one from the father. These are called gametes. Together, these gametes form a single cell, the zygote, from which the entire embryo, including its surrounding membranes, grows. 48. From a physiological perspective, each one of the two cell structures from both the mother and the father need to be contained in fluids necessary for fertilization. The spermatozoon is contained in fluid called semen, 49, and the oocyte is surrounded by follicular fluid which contains sex steroids, glycoprotein hormones, plasma proteins, mucopolysaccharides, and enzymes. 50 Interestingly, advancements in physiology concluded that the oocyte is coated in oviductal secretions required for its viability and fertilizability. Physiologists Bruce Copen and Bruce Stanton explain, Oviductal secretions coat and infuse the cumulus oocyte complex and may be required for viability and fertilizability. 51. Thus, the analysis of the word nutfah as a single entity formed as a result of a combination of essential extracted substances that are contained in fluids necessary for fertilization, talaqio, corresponds with the description of the zygote's formation.